We're still hanging in there, Rhythm Room. How we doing? How about that musical performance from Popcorn Touring Company? Fantastic blues. You know, as a musician who performs all genres of music, and even the last few years, I've had to be indoctrinated into the country world and play a few country songs. But truly, as you all know, by frequenting this venue and being here today, blues is where it all started. And to hear these guys play the blues that way and continue to keep that genre alive is something that warms my heart. And I know it's just an absolute boon to everybody in the music community to still have musicians like this playing this. And with that, brings me to our next induction. Are you guys ready? Ladies and gentlemen, we have next to induct into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame a venerable scribe who plays a very important role in a community's music and entertainment, in making sure that it is documented and that it is acknowledged and preserved so that people can understand just how well we've been entertained here in Arizona over the years. And someone who has done an exemplary job of that over the years is someone we would now like to induct.
Yes. I do just want to say thanks to Bob and Jimmy, though. That music was freaking incredible. And that's why we have the Rhythm Room, you guys. Okay, John Dixon, I don't normally read off of a script, but there's so much good stuff here that he's involved in, I just don't want to miss anything. So bear with me, you guys. John Dixon, or as his friends call him, Johnny D, has been a vital part of Arizona's music scene for over 60 years. As a DJ, musician, Capital ABC Records promo man, producer, and record collector. He's known as the unofficial Arizona music historian because of his unparalleled knowledge of Arizona's music history. And his website, you guys, is azmusicdude.com, and it's packed with vital music history from Arizona, which I think everybody should take a minute and go read at some point. He's an obsessive collector of Arizona music stories, recorded music, and memorabilia. He's made a career of archiving, documenting, and reissuing Arizona music by local artists from the 1920s to the 1980s. I'm wondering if he has any of my granddad's stuff, including Billy Maxwell, Lloyd Klingman, Dwayne Eddy, Al Casey, Sanford Clark, Dyke and the Blazers, and of course Alice Cooper, one of my favorites. He owns publishing and reproduction rights for many Arizona music masters from Audio Recorders of Arizona, in partnership with Fervor Records, who I don't know if you're all familiar with, but they're doing a bunch of great work as well. Yeah. And those guys are here, and I think they might want to jump up and say something as well. But they do tracks or license for TV and cable shows, movies, and commercials. John says this is a great way to keep vintage Arizona music alive around the world and support many of the musicians and families who made the original records so many years ago. And that is key, you guys. That's really important to, again, keeping it alive, passing it on. John is one of the founding members of the Music and Entertainers Hall of Fame, and we are proud to induct John Dixon into the AMEHF. So, yes, give him a hand. You always need the historians, you guys. So, to induct John, we're going to have Glenn and Bob will come up and speak and give him his plaque, but the guys from Fervor Records might want to come up as well and say something. Yes. I know. Do the guys from Fervor Records want to come up and say anything really quick? Okay. They're going to come up. Glenn, I'm going to let you guys do your thing. Bob with the great hair.
Are you actually real? Can I touch you? Johnny D. Fuck, you are old, man. So my band, the Spiffs, in 1980, we had a little record out. I went to K15. It's K15 then, right? I walked right in there and I see Johnny, he's DJing live behind this plate glass, and he sees me, waves me in, and I gave him the record. Look, our Spiffs record just came out. He goes, what do you want me to play? You know, right there live. We opened it, we played my song Here Comes Trouble, which is now owned by Fervor Records. They own the Spiffs. Two of the songs from the Spiffs we're in Criminal Minds and a show called LA's Finest, thanks to these two fuckers right here. All right, Johnny D. And then while the songs Here Comes Trouble's playing, we got phone calls. Remember Johnny? And we're talking to like, oh my God. All right. My other memory with Johnny, we'll leave all the bad stuff out. Yes? Okay. In 1987, I went to go see Tommy James at Celebrity Theater. He's a god to me, right? Tommy James. So I snuck backstage. Nobody stopped me. And the dressing rooms are underneath the revolving stage. There's a hallway. And I'm down there and I see Johnny D at the end of the hall. And he sees me and goes, hey, Glenn. I go, Johnny. Because you were the promoter of that show. Were you working for Zalisco then or something? Yep. You were working for Evening Star? So anyway, I say, Johnny, I really want to meet Tommy James. Come with me, Glenn. Opens Tommy James' dressing room door, says, Tommy, here's my friend Glenn. Shoves me in and shuts the door. It's me and my idol in the dressing room for about a half hour, and Tommy James is just putting on his makeup, talking casually, you know. And anyway, thank you for that, Johnny. One of my favorite memories. Johnny D. All right.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff Freundlich from Fervor Records. This is Dave Hoker. Thanks. Good to be here. We've worked with John for a long time, and it's really been an honor and a pleasure to represent all the incredible music that is in John's catalog, and more importantly, to get to know John. He's kind. He's thoughtful, and I think if anybody, if there's a group of people that would understand the power of music, it's probably the people in this room right now. Music is physical. It wraps around your spine. When you watch musicians play and they're gesticulating, you're seeing that take over. When you see people dancing, it's emotional, and that means it gets into your soul. And the thing is with John, is that he embodies all of those things, whether he's playing, listening, spinning, collecting. He embodies everything that is good and true about music and musicianship and taking care of artists. And Dave and I are just so proud to know you. We love you. And raise a glass to John.
Shit, how do you follow that? That's why he's usually a spokesman for Fervor Records. I was aware of Johnny forever, and we had a little newsletter that we sent out, and I put John's name on it, because it's like, well, it's John Dixon, maybe he'll open this thing. And in 2007, I got a call from him, and he said, I think we need to talk. And so we did, and that was the beginning of our Fervor's relationship with John. And it's had a huge impact on our lives, and and the whole Arizona music community, and we're honored to continue to perpetuate those legacies.
Well, what's cool is that we all have our John Dixon stories, because here's a guy that's had so much influence and has been such a mentor to so many folks here in Phoenix. When I first came here, I am a self-admitted music geek, but other people of like mind tend to congregate. And somehow, John saw that in me, and 41 years ago, he invited me onto his after-hours show on KSTM, The Storm. And that was my first time on the radio. I was a big collector, and that gave me the bug. And then shortly after that, I put in a proposal to KJZZ, and I got the radio show, and that's now 40 years old, but I have to credit it all to Johnny D, who really got me my start in radio. What can you say? And another personalized experience is that I'd have John as a guest, and we go through. John has all these amazing master tapes and rare records from Phoenix, Arizona. He is the world's encyclopedia of Phoenix music, and so because of that, he's created all these great reissues with all these European record labels like Ace and Bear Family and Numero, and he's done all these really spectacular things that have helped put Phoenix on the map in a worldwide music arena. And I'm really proud of him for that. He's done so much bringing some of the otherwise maybe forgotten or obscure heroes into focus on a worldwide stage. Johnny, again, another accolade of many. So one of my personalized experiences is that when he'd come and he'd play all these amazing, fantastic blues songs by very obscure artists that everybody loved but nobody had heard of before, I'm like, why don't we get together and from your collection put together a compilation of some cool stuff? So Johnny and I partnered up. We put out this album together called Flying High, which is blues and R&B and spirituals from Phoenix from the 50s and 60s, 27 tracks. And again, it just helped do what John's mission statement is, which is to keep Phoenix on the map. So a great radio man, a great music person, a musician himself, and my mentor and my hero. John, please come up here and accept your award. How about it, John Dixon?
You gonna read it?
I have to read it now. Okay. In recognition of outstanding achievements and major contribution to the entertainment culture in the state of Arizona, John Dixon is inducted into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame June 23, 2024. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone, first of all, for coming out on this Sunday and joining me along with this other great group of inductees here. And I was thinking the only other time I was inducted was into the Army in 1967. So this is a little different, and I wish that I could entertain and play and do stuff for you, but if you would bear with me, I'd just like to give a shout out to some of the people, and you might know some of these names, because it really doesn't, you don't start out knowing where you're going to go until after, what is it, almost 78 years in my case. Suddenly you're there and kind of looking back. But first of all, I do want to mention that I was a founding member of this organization way back when in the 90s. It was myself, Hans Olsen, Clark Rigsby, and Bone Mama, Mary McCann, sitting in the back of Clark Rigsby's yard. And we started the Arizona Music Heritage Foundation then with the idea of archiving, promoting Arizona's musical history and celebrating it. And to be here as part of this organization these many years later is really a thrill. Just a few names that maybe you will remember. Also, I want to give a shout out. Clark was supposed to be here tonight, and unfortunately, he had a little incident and a medical thing, not for himself, but he was unable to be here. But we really miss Clark, and we wish a speedy recovery to his wife, Mary Ann. So that's very important, because Clark is another gentleman who was also inducted here. Maybe an induction or two ago, was inducted in the Hall of Fame. So first of all, let's see. I want to give a shout out to June Howard Perlman, who ran Hills Books and Records in Tempe Center. Anybody remember Tempe Center? So
those are the people that were kind enough to let this little boy come into their store and look through their records. And when I found a box of 45 records, and many of them said not for sale, free, I said, man, I got it free records, because I was paying 98 cents for my Fats Domino and Rick Nelson records at the time. And I thought, man, this is great. So they got their records in Phoenix at a distributor called MB Krupp Distributors, run by Marvin and Mar Grover. Give a shout out to MB Krupp, because MB Krupp they handled all the small labels, all the little blues labels and stuff. So Howard took me over there one Thursday across the Tempe Bridge down 16th Street, and there were a couple other distributors, but Krupp was the biggest. He said, Margot, this young man is a DJ. We had a DJ service. Shout out to my dear late great friend Ron Harkins. Have Records Will Spin, Tempe Union High School. And so Ron was kind of the electronic guy. I was the record guy. So once a week I would drive across to 16th Street on Art Webb's Little Cushman. Artie Webb is a DJ on BBC and KRIZ. I'd go and I'd get this pile of 45s that I would drive back on his Cushman with a centrifugal clutch. I'd drive and get back to Tempe, and I'd sit there and listen to these Stax and Chess and Checker and all of these wonderful great 45s, and that really gave me the bug, because most of them you never heard on the radio. The black music, for the most part, was for jukebox operators and the clubs in South Phoenix. So those people really got me my start. And I want to give a shout out to Gil Monty, who let me join his band, the Sonics. I played drums. Jim Baston was a very dear friend from Tempe High, and Jimmy taught me how to play the drums. He was an instructor at Liederman's Music. Stan Devereaux, I was a member of Stan Devereaux and the Trendsetters for a year, played drums with them. It was a wonderful experience. We got to play Vegas, by the way, with the Sonics, which is amazing, backing a Topless show at Diamond Jim's Nevada Club. I had to join the union, but it was worth it for 2 months. So just consider coming from the National Guard Army in Phoenix to, it wasn't the Strip, to downtown Vegas, but a Topless show. It was a wonderful experience. Then I got serious. I want to give a shout out. I don't know if anybody remembers Memory Lane Records. Larry Finn, Memory Lane. Well, Larry had 2 boxes of Arizona 45s in the back, and I would go in the back and I would go through these 45s looking for things, and then I got, well, wait a minute, I've got Ramco, 2102 and 2106. I need the ones in between. So that was kind of the impetus to start, this music scene is great. I need to learn more and get more music and just catalog all of the history that I can. So the first gentleman who was kind enough to let me do this was a guy by the name of Loy Klingman. Anybody remember Loy Klingman? Viv Records, Hassie and Loy ran a studio that was cheaper than audio recorders, so a lot of garage bands recorded there. Mike Bruce was there at the Wildflowers before Alice Cooper. He recorded there. Hassie and Loy were living up in Mayer, and they would let me come up there on the weekends, and he had a garage full of records and tapes, and I would go there and archive them, because most of these guys didn't know what they put out, and people would come up to them and go, hey, do you have, Henry Thome, Scotch and Soda? And, well, maybe, ask John Dixon, because he knows. So I would go in his garage and I made him a listing of all of his records and all of his tapes. And then I followed that up with a meeting with doing the same thing for Floyd and Mary Ramsey. Floyd Ramsey ran Audi Recorders, owned Ramsey's Recorders, and he also owned quite a few record labels, including Ramco Records, which I'm now lucky enough to own. And the same situation, he didn't know what he had, so he had all of his records in his garage. He let me go and sit down and make a list of every record that he had, every tape. And shortly after that, a company in England was looking for the master for Al Casey's Surfin' Hootenanny. And so they got in touch with Floyd Ramsey. He said, check with John Dixon, he'll know if I have the tape or not, which he did. And so that was kind of the beginning of my realizing, hey, there's an international audience for this music. People want to hear this music, not just the people, because so many of these records, folks, so many of these groups and singers, you have these big dreams, you want to get on American Bandstand, and they made one, maybe two records, and then they went back to their day job. That was the end of it. So for me, those stories of the ones that didn't make it, not a Duane Eddy, not a Sanford Clark, not a Wayne Newton, these people were lucky enough to actually make it, but most of them didn't, and so I'm the lucky one that gets to keep, in many cases, the actual tapes that they made, the vinyl records and such, and so that's part of my, that's been part of my mission. I also want to give a shout out, I have acolytes. Over the years, there are folks who have kind of picked up my love of Arizona music and the ability, wanting to kind of share it. So I want to give a shout out, first of all, to Susan Strickler. I made a whole bunch of cassette tapes of interviews, and I want to thank everyone who was kind enough to sit with me and my little tape recorder and listen to me ask stupid questions, because you learn more. If I knew now what then, 40 years ago, I would have been a little more sensible and actually had a lot more information on what the true story was. But you have to start somewhere, so I made a ton of cassette interviews, and Susan Strickler was kind enough to come over to my house and actually transcribe them. Sit there and start and stop the tape, and so I have transcriptions of a lot of my interviews because of Susan. I also want to give a shout out to Dan Nowicki, Al Perry, Joe Baker. He's a newbie. Joe Baker's another new guy who is really into Arizona. Come on, give a shout out when you hear these names. He's great. He's still playing. He's got a wonderful website, and he just put out a new record too. And also a new guy, Skull Valley. His name is Jesse Bass, and he has got the most amazing listing of Arizona music on Discogs, which is a website for records that you can find. Also want to give a shout out to Miss Holly, who's been a wonderful supporter and DJ of Arizona music. Radio Free Phoenix, which has supported all of those efforts over the years. As far as my career, I want to give a shout out to Tommy Vasquez. Tommy was the general manager of KDKB, and in 1980, he said, "Hey kid, you want to do a radio station?" And I just come back from England. I had a trunk full of British punk 45s, and he said, let's do a radio station. And in those days, it was called Rock of the 80s. That was kind of the concept. And so K15 ran for 6 months on the AM with the transmitter at Lepala Moving and Storage on Country Club Road, and we played music. I hired Bone Mama for the first time. I did her interview on the back of her Harley Davidson. She came up and was there, and she had left a tape with KDKB, and they weren't interested, and I heard the tape. I hired her on the spot. That was a wonderful thing. And then I want to give a shout out to Steve Allison, who was the owner and put KEYX on the air, and that was Rock and Soul in 1987. So those two folks have been a very big part of my and your music history. Let's see, Danny Z at Evening Star, Danny and Kitty, who hired me to do production, and we did a lot of Arizona, a lot of Mason Jar shows, ladies and gentlemen. Support a lot of Arizona music. We mentioned Bear Family Records, Ace UK, Sundays. These are the labels that started to coming to me, looking for music to license and put out, which was wonderful. Fervor Records, a shout out to Fervor, who've been very dear friends, who, you know, I don't have any hits really. I mean, I've got a couple of Wayne, there are some things that people know about, the first couple of Wayne Newton records, but we don't have any hits, but yet the music is so solid and it sounds so good on these shows that we've just been able to do so well over the years, licensing this music that Floyd Ramsey and Mary Ramsey were kind enough to let me share with them. I also, of course, want to give a big shout out to Mama D, my mom. Bless her heart. Mama D put up with the young Johnny. I had a paper route. She wanted me to use my money for other things. I wanted to buy records. So I would go down to Hills Books and Records, and I'd buy some records, and I'd come home and I'd stick them outside my bedroom window. And I'd come in the front and go, "Hi Mom, how are you? How you doing? Good to see you." Then I'd go back, open the window, and then bring the records in. And many months later, suddenly she goes, "Where did all those records come from?" And I went, well, it's my paper route money. That's just kind of how it happens. Also, a big shout out to my better half, Miss Lou, who puts up with all of the CDs and all of the records, and occasionally accompanies me on record shows. It's just been great, and we bought a house. I grew up in Tempe, got off the train, as mentioned there, in 1953. That's when the train actually stopped in Tempe. You could actually get off the train in Tempe. And the porter was putting down, they lower the door on the Pullman cars, and then he had a little, like, aluminum foot stand that you go down on. So we were the only ones getting off. I remember we came from Oregon out there, and it was August, and we looked out the window, and all these heat things are, oh my God, what have we gotten into? And the porter, as he's getting us off, goes, "Lady, what you coming here this time of year for?" And we were just like in shock, and ended up spending our first night at the Casa Loma Hotel, which was the first hotel we could get to. And they didn't have air conditioning, but they had fans. They had outdoor patio or kind of porches with screen on them, and they had a fan. And we got towels and wet the towels and just sat on the bed with the. I mean, it was an amazing welcome to Phoenix. Also, let's see. Oh, listen, I want to give a shout out to Ziggy's, which is recently closed, and Dion is in the house. I want to send her so much love. Ziggy's was such a big part of our music scene here and did so much for so many musicians, and we're lucky to have Dion here in the house, and I want to thank Miss Holly for making that all happen. It's very kind of you. Well, I think that's it, and then one little shout out. I want to mention, big shout out to my granddaughter Devin, who's putting up with all of this here. She's 10 years old, a beautiful young lady, and thank you, Devin, for coming this afternoon and spending some time with Grandpa and his friends. And yeah, I think that's, oh, listen, also, before I forget, and maybe you've ever had music, I apologize. But anyway, listen, as part of the Bend Over, which is my business corporation, so to speak, we put out these CDs, some of which I make my money back, and many of them, which are still in my warehouse, sitting there and in boxes. But on the table here, on the Hall of Fame table, I brought some CDs and a record for you. There's a Condello CD. This is someone who's in the Hall of Fame. Grab one of these. These are complimentary. And then a couple of people that aren't in the Hall of Fame, maybe you would listen to the music and consider it the next time. Nadine Jansen is number one, a wonderful performer, a singer, jazz. The music is just fantastic. And another guy who lived here in Phoenix for 10 years, his name is Lloyd Ellis, and he's an amazing guitar player. If you like guitar, check out one of these CDs. And then finally, there's a vinyl that I put out thinking I'd just make just a whole bunch of money, and I've still got tons of them, but I'm giving them away here today. And the wonderful thing about this is that Bruce Knoll, who recently got his plaque, the Jetsons, Bruce Knoll, he's in the Hall of Fame. I gave him my plaque. He's very shy. He didn't want to come down and step on stage to get it, so he has his plaque. And also John Rawhouse, who you'll be hearing from. John is on the Suicide Kings. These are available complimentary from the Bend Over Corporation. And thank you once again for coming out. Thank you for everyone who voted for me over the years, and I appreciate it and support Arizona music, the past and the present. Thank you.
Well deserved. Thank you so much, John Dixon. That is amazing work and amazing history, you guys. Love those stories. And I feel really short in between you guys. Okay, we're gonna keep this moving along. I'm really excited about our next inductee, John Rawhouse. He is a steel guitar player, and I am a sucker for steel guitar. I sing in a country band. So, and we have actually somebody special. Ed Maisley from the Arizona Republic is going to, or is it the Arizona Gazette now? He wants to come up and he wrote a great article about this induction as well. And one of the stories he shared that I loved was he said, John took up the steel guitar when it wasn't popular. And that tells you a real musician who just has a passion for something and they do it regardless of whether it's popular or not. I love that. So Ed, come on up here. There you go. He is going to tell you a little bit more and do this induction.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here at the Rhythm Room. Congratulations, Bob, inducting John Rawhouse to the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. If you've seen John perform, then you already know how he became such an in-demand touring musician, playing steel guitar, banjo, and more in Nico Case's touring band for more than 20 years. Toured with the Mekon Sally Timms, Jacob Dylan, Billy Bob Thornton, Iron and Wine with Ben Bridwell, the Waco Brothers, Kelly Hogan. But I asked John, what do you think makes you such a sought-after musician that all these people are tracking you down to go out on the road with them? And he said, well, you know, it helps that I don't just play steel guitar, he plays a bunch of other instruments as well. There was a point in Nico's band where he was playing pedal steel, 12-string, 6-string, dobro, trombone, banjo, mandolin. He said, I just kept adding stuff. So, but he also credited the lessons learned from Sally Timms on his first tour. I played with Sally Timms for 1.5 years, he said, and she taught me how to not be a dick. If you know John at all, you know he's not a dick, and we apparently have Sally Timms to thank for that. There's a reason John is thought of first and foremost as a steel guitarist. If you've heard his first album on Bloodshot, John Rawhouse's Steel Guitar Air Show, you can see how that would happen. It's amazing what he can do on steel guitar. But his first instrument was actually banjo. It took another local steel guitarist, Mike Hardwick of Yesterday's Wine, who would go on to tour with such artists as Jerry Jeff Walker and Jimmy Dale Gilmore, that got him interested in giving steel guitar a try. And as John once told me, I was totally fascinated by what he was doing, and I just loved the way it sounded. So I used to go and watch him play all the time, and I kind of got the gist of what he was doing. He couldn't find a steel guitar in Phoenix because, as previously mentioned, steel guitar was not that hot at the time. And so he did find one, though, in Flagstaff. He got a student model and started learning, getting a professional model later in Los Angeles. I just kept at it, he said, and anytime somebody called me for anything, I was like, I'm bringing the steel guitar. His big break was getting a call from an alt-country group called Grievous Angels in the 90s. They were trying to get a deal on Bloodshot Records, and they brought in John to add some steel guitar in one song. That track with John on steel guitar ended up being the opening track on Bloodshot's 5-year anniversary compilation, which led to the label flying him to Chicago all the time for session work. That's how he met Nico Case. I was sleeping on a couch at the label's owner's house, and she was sleeping on a couch at the label owner's house, so we just became friends, John says. Nico invited John to join her in the studio, and the rest is more than 20 years of history. John started making his own records with 2002's Steel Guitar Air Show, a collaboration with his old friend Tommy Connell. They played bluegrass together here in Phoenix in the 70s and 80s and decided to record an album in the style of Speedy West and Jimmy Bryant. John's latest album, One Day Will Never Come Back, is a collaboration with another friend, Blaine Long, released by Fort Lowell Records in November. He's also recorded with a group called Sleepwalker and played on albums by Nico, Billy Bob Thornton, Calexico, Dr. Dog, KT Tunstall, the Old 97s, Giant Sand, and you get the picture. People like working with John. He's a great musician, but also a great guy. That's why we're here today, inducting him into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. John, if you could come up. John, it's an honor to give you this plaque, which says, in recognition of outstanding achievement and major contribution to the entertainment culture in the state of Arizona, John Rawhouse is inducted into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame.
I'm not going to say a bunch of stuff. I'd like to thank everybody involved. I'd like to thank Ed and also the other inductees. It's great to know most of these people and most of everybody who loves the music in this town. Thanks to Bob for saving the blues in Arizona single-handedly. I know he hates it when I say that, but I do say that. So, all right, and we're gonna play a couple songs for you. And that's Valerie.
So yes, we're going to be treated to a little more live music from yet another inductee into the into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. It's a lot of verbiage. And don't forget, we still have a lot more to go. We are inducting a little bit later the great Hans Olsen, so you guys can stick around. Let's continue having a good time. Let's finish strong, but please welcome to the stage Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame inductee, the one and only John Rawhouse.
Do an old one, a new one, and then two of the new record. What's that, Matt?
I'll take some violin. Does anyone need that in monitor?
I think I'm good there.
Good? Awesome. Thank you.
Are you good back there? All right. I just wanted to quick, that's Megan Neff on violin down there. And Lindsay Cates on bass. Frank Rowland on drums. And we're going to do two, and then we'll bring up Blaine Long to sing. Yeah, Blaine! Yes, Blaine. All right. Ready, guys? Drinking will make you stop doing what you have to do. Helps you get away when you're feeling through. Drinking sometimes, it's a thing to do.
you need. Well, caffeine will let you stop sleeping your life away. Gives you get up and go a 24-hour day. Caffeine for me is here too. Caffeine for me is here too. Caffeine for me is here to stay. Oh, thank you. That's off an old record from back in the 20s, I think. Okay, so then this one is a new one, and I did record it. It hasn't been released yet. So we'll see how this goes, whether I should just shelve it or not. Everything I try to move just doesn't move. It moves, but then it goes right back to where it was. All right. Okay. Let's just do it. They found him lying on the floor, deader than a nail in an Egyptian door. He got lost at the DMV so he could drive his LTD. He lasted just about a day. 7 hours he began to sway. He almost made it, give or take. The registrar then took a break. Now he's a martyr for the cause, just for trying to follow law. For all of us, he's eased our pain. We had to open another lane. you. I'm sure you've all experienced something along those lines. All right, I'm going to bring Blaine along. We made a record last year.
Blaine!
Oh, yes. All right, let me get this switched here.
being a sideman, I have to count on other people to play with all the time. So for me to play steel guitar, I gotta have somebody else singing it and doing that.
I'm sorry about that.
So So I don't know if you guys know Blaine or not, but he's an extremely talented musician and singer.
He should be on The Voice.
Yes, he was on The Voice. He was. Yeah, the kid can sing.
I got nothing yet.
There's some.
That's where we go first.
We love you, Blaine.
Congratulations, guys. Congratulations, inductees.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
All right.
Hey, babe. Don't let them change your mind. 'Cause if you're feeling like an asshole, maybe you're not so blind. But when your heart rips open in a murder crow skies, I'm feeling better than a bag, higher than a clear blue sky. Hey, babe. Hey, babe. Hey, babe. Well, I wanna know you, because it seems like the sun is always gonna shine. Yeah, the first thing in the morning when I open my eyes, I sit there and relax and smile about them days. Baby, can you hear me calling right on out of the haze? Well, I'm never gonna come down. Yeah, I'm an earthbound angel stuck on this merry-go-round. I'll take it day by day, take it night by night. I'm feeling better than a bag, higher than a clear blue sky. Well, now sometimes I'm high. Well, high above you, well, now sometimes I'm low. But I still go through, and I don't know why. I just love you, and I'll be around. Even when my feet don't touch the ground. Hey, baby. Well, I'm never gonna come back down. I'm an earthbound angel stuck on this merry-go-round. I'll take it day by day, take it night by night. I'm feeling better than a beggar, higher than a clear blue sky. Sometimes I'm high above you, well, now sometimes I'm low.
Thank you. We're gonna do one more. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. This really means a lot to me the whole day. And my kids are here, and you guys are gonna make me cry like that. So I'm not even gonna look over there. Yeah, look at it straight ahead.
Bye.